All right, so part 3 banner is going to be released soon on global after the update that's currently going on right now. Actually, it'll be live on global, which is actually a really big deal because this banner is very strong. It's actually really strong. Now, we don't have part 3 tickets, but even though you have to use 30 gems to summon, it might not be as bad as you think. Since there's only, what, 9 units, 9 SSR units on the banner, it's actually not that bad. So the chances of you getting Chandler is actually really high. Now, obviously, they're going to add more and more units once the game gives out more characters that is from this season, right? Part 3 of the anime. But now, since it's only 9 units, it's not bad at all. Like, it's actually not that bad. So if you don't have dupes for Ludo, if you really want that last dupe you need for a 6 out of 6 Ludo, then I actually would say summon on this banner. It's not bad, because even if you don't get Ludo, you can get Chandler, you can get Tarmiel, you can get the best partner with Bond, you can get Sario, you get really good characters. It's actually not bad at all. So the weird thing is, and I really hope Global decides to do patch notes better. They didn't reveal any information about this with the actual patch notes that they released at, as of the recording of this video. They released it an hour ago and they didn't release anything regarding the part 3 banner, which was weird, but whatever, it's fine. Now, each of these units are good in their own right, so I guess we'll just start with Ludo. Now, Ludo has aged, but I don't think he's aged as badly as everyone might think he has, because he can still be very good. His CC can actually hit, like, I think I've seen a Ludo hit high 59k. I can't remember if it was 60k, but I know for a fact it was high 59k. So he can actually hit really high CC. It's just you need to build in him. You need to invest. You need to invest in this unit. He hasn't really aged terribly though, because he still has Rupture, which is really good against units that buff. He has a very strong single target attack, multiplier of 600. He has a very good ultimate, which creates a barrier on him, depending on how much damage you do on all enemies. And then he also has this Grace, which means he can't be incapacitated at all for 2 turns. So it's very strong. So he hasn't really aged as terribly as everyone might think, but he has, he has aged, obviously, especially with power creep, but he's still good. He is still very good, and plus he can be ran with the one Escanor and Gother, so that way the one Escanor is just dishing out massive amounts of damage, so keep that in mind. Now, Gerhard, she's okay. Like, I don't want to, like, shit on her. I shit on her when she first dropped, and maybe I did. Maybe I was too harsh on her. She is a really good healer. She can fill up the ultimate move gauge orbs of all allies on rank 2 and 3. She cancels buff and stances. She has this AoE card which cancels stances. I mean, she's not good, but she can be runnable for certain situations because of her passive. First off, her passive heals allies HP by 1% of max HP for every orb in an ally's ultimate move gauge. So if you get your max ultimate move gauge, you're healing for 5% of your max HP. That actually can be really helpful. I'm not gonna lie. This can also be helpful. This can be helpful in certain situations, but not really. And then her ultimate is pretty much the same as Green Hellbrim for Belmoth, but no one's gonna run her. Like, you're not gonna run her on Belmoth. So she can be, I guess, useful, but she's not really that good. So she's pretty much the only unit on the banner that I would say is bad, honestly, like bad, but whatever. Then we get to Tarmiel. Tarmiel is still very strong, very useful, one of the best tanks in the game. He's very powerful. Passive is very strong, reduces max HP of all enemies by 200% of his defense. So the more defense you give him, the better his passive is going to be. So keep that in mind, right? So he's very strong, has his stance skill, which reduces damage, has his Grace, which heals. What can I say? Overall, very strong unit. He also can deplete ultimate move gauge orbs. He's just a very good unit, especially if you're linking him with, I don't know, another tank-like unit. Forget about it. He's one of the best. He's one of the best links in the game. He really is one of the best links in the game. So yeah, he's very powerful. So him on this banner gives it a lot of value as well, right? It gives it a lot of value. I would honestly say he is probably better than Sariel in PvP. He actually probably is better than Sariel right now in PvP because of the fact of him being able to tank. He reduces max HP of all enemies. He can heal any ally that's linked, that has him linked. He's strong. He's just very strong. Sariel is strong as well, but he has, like, with all the newer units that have a lot of crit resistance, very powerful, he can't hold up. He really can't. Whereas this unit is not DPS at all. He's just tanking. So yeah, very strong. But PvE, Sariel's still god tier, like he is. PvE content, he just eviscerates anything in his path. Like he just obliterates all enemies. He's very powerful. The more resistance they have, the better. He has Sever, which is 3 times crit chance. He has this, which increases his own basic stats, by the way, of 20% of his own basic. It's very powerful, right? So even though it says increases goddess allies, he's still getting this passive, right? He is still getting this passive because he is a goddess. So keep that in mind. Very powerful. And then his grace, ignoring the crit defense of enemies, just powerful. Like very powerful. When we get another unit that's a good best friend for him, he will be relevant in PvP again, right? He will actually be relevant, but for now he's not. So it is what it is, but still very powerful PvE unit nonetheless. So again, this banner, man, this banner is just strong. The 3 archangels on it, man, it's just very powerful. Then we get to Green Arthur, best free-to-play unit in my opinion in the game. Maybe you could argue Jim, but I think he's the best free-to-play PvE unit for sure. Like it's not a contest. It's not close. He is the best. So his passive increases allies damage dealt to enemies by 35% and decreases damage taken by 35% if all allies are alive. Yeah, just right there. It just goes to show how good this passive is. And then he also has, like, a single target disables buff and debuff skills. He also has a very good AoE attack. I think this is the strongest just damaging AoE, like with no attack effects, right? Just the most damaging AoE card without a attack in the game, like attack effect in the game, right? So I mean, yeah, he's good. He is very good. Any PvE event you put him in, he's going to be helpful because of this passive. It's not restricted for race or anything. All allies just have to be alive. That's it. So very strong. The only thing that I hate that they did was exclude it from deathmatch. I feel like we're in an era where it doesn't matter if this passive is in deathmatch. I feel like we're at that point in time where it doesn't matter. So they can mend this by simply removing the deathmatch part. I get if this was PvP, he would single-handedly be the best unit for PvP, no matter what, because this passive is that powerful. Yeah, it's that powerful. So yeah, I can see the PvP portion, but the deathmatch, I feel like we are in an era where we don't need it to be excluded from deathmatch. I do feel like that. But yeah, so very strong free-to-play PvE card. So yeah, then we get to Nanashi. Nanashi is good, but I wouldn't call him like the greatest unit ever, right? He's good. I won't give him anything more than good, but his passive is insane. If this wasn't RNG based, like if it were just at the start of allies turn, applies a buff to allies increasing max HP. Yo, let me tell you, there would be no way any enemy could get their ult. There just wouldn't be. He would be the best no matter what. He would be the best, like, just setback character in the game. There would be no competition. But that's why they made it RNG, because they don't want you to just have this buff and then reducing the enemy's ultimate move gauge. They wouldn't, right? So yeah, that's why they made it like that. But he is good. His passive is very good. It's just RNG based, but I wouldn't say he's anything other than good. His stats are right? They could be better, but I see why they made his crit resistance and crit defense so low, because they wanted you to have his passive, because he's adding an additional 20%. Even with the 20%, it's not even that great. So I feel like they could have easily buffed this to 60 and had this at like, I feel like they both actually could have been at 60. Yeah, I feel like that. And then with his passive, it would have been buffed to 80% had it, you know, just been base 60. So I don't know. But yeah, he is good. He can be useful for certain things, but again, he's more of a sub slot character, which is good. I mean, you know, he is good. He has really good CC, 4,367. So I mean, you can build it with HP and defense. Keep that in mind. But yeah, he's good. Chandler, my boy Chandler. Yeah, forget about it. Chandler is amazing. He is probably, besides festival units, he probably is the best blue, like, just base unit in the game. He probably is, because his passive in PvP is amazing. He can block effects. He has a full counter, which taunts. AoE charge. If this were Shatter, it'd be insane. It would actually be insane. It would just be so broken, because assault melee decreases defense related stats. So him ignoring defense isn't the craziest, but you know, if this were ignores resistance, it would be absolutely insane. I do think Shatter on ultimate, scaling of ultimate is pretty much the best ultimate effect. You know, for AoEs in the game, it has to be, unless they somehow put weakness as an AoE effect on ultimate. Shatter is pretty much my go-to. I feel like it is the best, right? I feel like it is the best AoE you know, effect. But yeah, Chandler is really, really good. There's really nothing much to say. He has really good crit resistance base, full counters amazing, block skill effects, darkness as his passive, which decreases all stats of enemies who use skills by 7%. Just so good. Chandler is. He is a really, really good unit. But yeah, then we get to Arthur. Red Arthur, best unit to run with Bond, hands down, no discussion. It is what it is. Increases max HP by 30%, damage dealt by 20% if every ally in battle is human. AoE charge, skill 1, very good stance skill, depletes the alt move gauge of any enemy who hits him. Very strong. Detonate ultimate. Very, very good stats. You know, crit resistance being so high. I guess his stats aren't the best, but his crit resistance is really, really good. So yeah, there's nothing more to say about him. Really good support for Bond, but that's pretty much it. I mean, you could use him with other humans. It doesn't really matter. He's good for Bond. And then Liz. So Liz is good for Belmoth, but that's pretty much it. She can be used for Grey Demon, but no one really, I don't think people play Grey Demon as much anymore, since they're giving out so many demon mats. It's so easy to get demon mats from different types of events that it doesn't matter. So don't know if anyone's really playing Grey Demon, but she can be used there for her passive. Belmoth, she actually is a beast. She actually is a beast in Belmoth. I feel like she's a low tier beast because she does damage on this skill, and she also does a pretty decent damage with this one as well. I feel like if you build her with attack and defense, she actually is going to hit really, really strong. So keep that in mind. And if you're having, you know, let's say the Hellbrum strat, because that's pretty much all she's useful for is with the Hellbrum strat, her crit chance goes up to 60%. That is big. That is really big. And her crit damage also goes up to 60%. So she is at 180% crit, or even more with her cosmetics, but she has over 180% crit damage and over 60% with rank 3 Hellbrum buff. Yeah, she's good, man. She is good for Belmoth. She's a low tier beast. But there you go, guys. Those are all the units. This banner is very, very strong. Again, I would take advantage of this. I can't say to use every single gem that you have on this banner, because that wouldn't be smart. Keep in mind, these units will return on festival banners. So, but if you wanted to waste like, I don't know, a multi or two on the part 3 banner, I would say go for it, right? You're not guaranteed an SSR, but when you are getting an SSR, it's gonna be very, very strong characters. Even if you get Gerhard, right, there's a really low chance you get her, but you can still get her, right? So keep that in mind. But yeah, all these units are good. I would say that part 3 banner is one of the best things to come out of this update. I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like it is. But there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up for the algorithm. Comment below if you're gonna be summoning on this banner or not. But as always, you guys already know, I will see you all next time.